All right, good evening and welcome to Students Dominate Math. My name is Mr. Hendricks and I would like to serve as your math tutor for the evening. We only have a half an hour, so I would hope that we have some students out there who have questions in the area of math. Whatever the area, I do the best that I can to help you. In the meantime, by the way, the number is 312-738-1060, the number on the screen. This is a live call-in interactive show brought to you through the outstanding facilities here at CAN TV. This show is called Students Dominate. This show is not called Students Pass. This show is called Students Dominate. So if you want to dominate, you call in. You don't want to dominate, you just sit there and watch. What I have today is an exciting topic to me. My students always say, where am I going to use this? Where am I going to use that? How does this apply to real life? Oh, all of the moaning and groaning. Well, today we got the topic for you. The topic is dealing with saving money. We emphasize that to the students often. Try to stay out of debt. Man, that's good teaching right there. Stay out of debt. We teach the children to be the lender and not the borrower. That's even scriptural. So we teach them to be the lender, not the borrower. We teach them, we connect the math to finances. And that's what we're going to do tonight. Beautiful equation. But I want, the goal tonight is for you to call in about the question that you have. If you don't call in, I've got my own topic I'm going to talk about. Let's just jump into it. I've been doing too much talking as it is. All right, let's take a look. Oh, let me get a little bit unorganized, but we're going to work it out. All right, let's get started. Let's see what we got here. All right. There we go. Okay, so what we have is we have a problem. I will read it. I will read it for my students. This is page 356, number 7. Oh, that's pretty clear. 356, number 7. So $800 is deposited into an account. We encourage the students to deposit money into the account, save their money. So they come upon $800 of disposable income. And the account product pays 9% annual interest rate compounded annually. That means compounded once a year, compounded annually. Find the balance after 4 years. So you leave your money in the bank, you leave $800 in the bank, you leave the money in the bank for 4 years, it's compounded, 9% annual interest rate compounded annually. If you leave the money in the bank, how much money will you have after 4 years? This is important. This is important. All right, so I started the problem a little bit already so we can get through as many problems as possible. You have $800, that's called principal. If the principal is the amount of money that you are bringing to the table, and then it was compounded annually, that means it's compounded one time a year at 9%, and then this T is time, that means you're going to leave the money in the bank for 4 years. All right? So the question is, how much money will you have after 4 years? That's A. That's the balance. All right? So the great formula we're going to introduce to you is A is equal to the principal, principal times 1 plus R over N raised to the NT power. So this is a great equation because we're going to do a variety of different kinds of problems with this same equation. This equation can do a lot of, it can perform a lot of different types of calculations that we'll get through in a minute. So we don't know the balance after 4 years, so we'll leave that unknown, but we do know the principal. The principal is $800. We have 1, that's just part of the formula, plus the interest rate, which always must be written as a decimal. This 9% has to be written as a decimal, and that's rather easy to do. You just take the 9 and you move the decimal over 2 decimal places. You're actually dividing by 100. So 9% is the same thing as 0.09. That's what R stands for, the interest rate. Over N, that's the frequency at which your money is compounding. So in this case, the problem was compounded annually. So we make N1 raised to the 1 times T. T is the amount of time you're leaving the money in the bank. We'll make that 4. All right. So let's continue our problem. We've got 800 times, that's 0.09 divided by 1, and that's being added to 1, so we end up with 1.09 raised to the 1 times 4 power. So this simplifies to a very, very manageable, mathematical expression here, mathematical equation here. All right, so let me pull out my phone. Wow. And use the calculator. Unbelievable. Let's pull out my phone to use the calculator. All right, so we got 1.09, and we are raising that to the 4 power. Raising that to the 4 power. All right, let's close that parentheses. And we hit equal to sign, and we get 1.411, and that is being multiplied to 800. All right, so let's take that number, multiply it by 800, and we end up with 1,129, and it says 0.26. Well, you can't see that. Oh, we have a caller. Wonderful. 0.265, and that's actually rounded to 0.27. Let's see what we have with our caller. Caller, thanks for calling in. How can we help you this evening?
Hi, Mr. Hendricks. I was just wondering, because your show is about dominating math, can you talk about what kind of careers someone can pursue if they major in math?
Oh, okay. Well, wonderful. One career that people who major in math, one career could be in the area of finance. One super popular and rather desirable career is one of a person who works with finance, a person who works with money, managing someone's money, what I'm doing now. A person who majors in math could become proficient in that kind of area. Another area is the area of actuary sciences. These people, they are strong with topics in the areas of probability and statistics, which is the study of the likelihood that something would happen. Anyone who has insurance, they pay rates. Their rates are based on the likelihood of an accident to occur, the likelihood of someone to get sick. There are mathematicians who share different types of statistical analysis to salespeople, let's say, for example, and a lot of the rates could be based on mathematical tendencies of certain things happening. There are plenty of math teachers out here. A lot of these people, they are math majors. And then you've got people in the area of engineering. A lot of people who they're actually problem solvers. These are all people who could major in the areas of math. So I've tried to list a couple. I hope you're satisfied with that kind of that response. Are you still on the line? Okay, not on the line anymore. Okay, well, wonderful. Thanks for calling, though. We've got room for more callers, 312-738-1060. If that answer was not satisfactory, we welcome you to call back again. And if I can think of another type of career, you know, the actuary, scientists, I mentioned engineers, math teachers, physicists. There are just any number of people who could major in math going into all of these kinds of areas. All right, so I've got more problems. We just did a problem. Where you had a person invest. We did number 7. We had a person invest. Oh, we got another caller. Wonderful. Caller, thank you for watching. How can we help you?
Hi, I wanted to know if it would be possible. I'm trying to get my nephew really into math and science, but they're teaching math differently now than they did when I was in school. I wanted to see if you could just really quickly just kind of go over a little bit of the differences there.
Well, you know, that's a difficult question to answer. It's a very difficult question to answer. I'll do the best I can. To me, personally, and this is just the way I feel, math, to me, from my perspective, has not changed. Certainly the way it's presented, with the different Common Core requirements nowadays, certainly there are different topics that are being emphasized. But from my perspective, I teach calculus as well. In the area of calculus, I wouldn't say that there's been a reinvention of mathematics. There are just certain things that are being maybe requested. The teachers might be asked to emphasize certain topics more than in previous years, but I wouldn't say that math has changed. This is just my own personal view. The one thing that I would recommend to you is one of the great tools out now is the internet. And what I tend to go to, there are any number of sites that you can go to. One of my favorites is Math Tutor. I'm sorry. One of my favorites is if I remember it, if I remember the exact website, I will mention it on this show, so please continue to watch. But YouTube, I go to YouTube all of the time to practice different topics in the area of math. YouTube, there are hundreds and hundreds of very, very competent people who are passionate about math, and they're just sharing any number of topics from basic math in the areas of arithmetic to advanced calculus mathematics topics. And they're very, very short videos oftentimes, and they're very, very clear and very, very competent people who are sharing very, very current topics that you would be potentially interested in. What I might recommend is you stop by there and learn of some of the areas that your relative would need assistance in. I hope that helps. And if I can think of the exact, justmathtutoring.com. Look up that site, justmathtutoring.com. One of the best websites that I've been to, where this gentleman has a number of videos, each about 10 minutes long, attempting to share what he knows. So there are others. My website, the name of my website is is Dominate Math, dominatemath.com. And what I do is I have a reference, I reference certain sites that I've used over the years, and you can check that as well. These are people who I've used myself to learn from, and you can check that out, dominatemath.com. Look under the references tab, and you know, see what you think and let me know. All right, so we got 2 calls. Wonderful. Keep the calls coming in. 312-738-1060. And we do the best that we can to answer whatever math questions you have. In the meantime, what I have is I have another problem. I have another problem. And this, for my students, this is another problem that's a little bit different. A little bit different. Let's take a look. All right, so what we have is, let's see what we got. All right, so we're looking at page 356. This is number 12. Same page, number 12. It says, how much must you deposit? How much must you deposit? So right away, this is a different problem. In the problem that we worked on up here, you had $800. You brought $800 to the table, and you tried to figure out how much you had after 4 years. This problem is a little bit different. This problem is saying how much must you deposit into an account that pays 8% compounded, an 8% annual interest rate, but it's compounded every month. Your money grows in interest every month to have a balance of $1,000. So you want $1,000 after 1 year. How much money must you put in the bank a year before you want $1,000? All right, so this problem is a little bit different from the one before, but the great thing about it is it's going to require the exact same formula. All right, so you got $1,000 that you want down the road, but you don't know how much money to deposit, and you want to keep your money in the bank for a year, and your money compounds 12 times a year, and it's 12. All right, so you're going to use the exact same formula, this exact same formula we used in the previous problem. So here is $1,000, and then the principal is unknown, and then the 1, that's part of the formula that you're using, added to the interest rate, which we said had to be written as a decimal. So the way you write 8% as a decimal is you divide by 100. In other words, you move the decimal 2, just like we did in the previous problem. We get 0.08 divided by n. All right, n, which is 12. All right, and you raise that to the 12 times t power. T is 1. You're leaving the money in the bank for 1 year. So let's complete this problem. We got 1,000 is equal to P. Let's complete this, what we have inside the parentheses. Pull out my phone again. Man, you got a calculator on your phone. Unbelievable. I am very old school, and this is great. Got a calculator on the phone. So we use the order of operations. We take 0.08. We always divide before we add. Let's divide 12, and we end up with a very, very small number. Let's add 1 to that. Add 1 to that, we end up with 1.0066. Let's raise that to the 12 power. Let's raise that to the 12 power. All right, a little bit dark there. All right, so we're going to raise that to the 12. So let's take that number and let's raise this to the 12 power. and we end up with 1,000. Oh, we only got 5 minutes left in the show. We get P times 1.0829. All right, so now this is just a basic algebraic equation. Let's divide both sides by 1.0829. On both sides, 1.0829. And we end up with P being equal to, all right, so, sorry about that. So we get P being equal to 1,000 divided by 1.0829, and we end up with $923, $923 and roughly 44 cents. We might be off by a dime or so, but roughly that's the amount of money for this particular problem here. When they say how much money must you put in the bank so that you can have $1,000 after 1 year. How much money should you put in right now, leave it in the bank, let it grow for a year in interest so that you have $1,000? Well, we use the same formula that we used before. You should put in the bank $923 so that you have $1,000. All right, so that's all we have time for. We might have a time for a real quick call if you call in right now at 312-738-1060. Next week, hey, we got 2 calls working with money. Man, people love money. So guess what we're going to talk about next week? This same topic. We still got 2 minutes left. Call in. What I love to do is encourage students. I love to encourage students. I love to tell students that you a genius. I love to tell students that you the best. I love to tell students that you can do it. I love to tell students that you never give up. You never quit. However challenging the topic is, that doesn't matter. You just keep putting forth your best effort. You keep coming after school. You keep asking questions. You keep trying. And in the end, you'll win. In the end, you'll be able to do it. The best thing, hey, there's scriptures that say, hey, the race doesn't come to the swift or to the strong. Hey, that's not the person who dominates. The person who dominates is the one who never quits. The one who never gives up, who just keeps trying, the one who day after day after day, they keep working hard. That's the one who in the end, that's what dominating is all about. That's dominating right there. You keep trying. And that's what we encourage the students to do. So, this is a show. We're from Providence St. School. Hey, we have an open house. We have an open house this Saturday. This Saturday, I imagine it starts at about 8 o'clock. It starts at 9 o'clock. It starts at 10 o'clock. But the open house is this Saturday. Am I right? You come to Providence St. School. Providence St. is a great, hard work, self-proclaimed hard work school. We ask the students to dominate math, science, Spanish, English, history. If there's one thing we teach the students to do, one thing, we teach them a lot of things. We teach them to work hard. That's the number one thing we teach them to do. We demand that they work hard. So this Saturday, Providence St. School, what's the address? 119 South Central Park Boulevard. That's 119 South Central Park Boulevard. You call the number to the school, 773-722-4600. That's all we have time for. God bless you. Thank you for watching. And remember, all students can and will dominate math. Have a good evening.